Well, good evening, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. I certainly hope this evening finds you well. Well, you know the old story, one step forward, three steps back, and that's the way it's been going with the CF-105 rebuild. I pretty much had an almost decent finish on the model, but there were still some wrinkles and some paint reaction that I sanded down, and I decided to give it one more coat, of course, to cover that up. And when I did, there was a pretty massive reaction. So I stripped off a larger area, sanded it down, hit it, and an even worse reaction. Now, this forced me to do a little bit more research and digging across some of the forums. Now, some of the information I found said that 30 or 40-year-old brush applied enamel paints are the hardest thing to get off. Of course, they've had so long to bite into the plastic, but I don't think that's what's causing the reaction. Of course, it's possible. The reaction happened in different areas, some that were basically naked plastic, which had been sanded and cleaned. There was no way there was any kind of residue on there. Some of it reacted with the Rust-Oleum 2X paint that was already on there, and there was a lot of wrinkling over any remnants of the old decals, but I think that was just the decal sheet underneath. Now, it's pretty warm down here in Florida, and I have read several places that when it gets warm, sometimes the paints, especially the 2Xs or enamels, can have a little bit of a negative reaction to the warmer weather, yet some paints do better, like Testors enamels, when they're warmed up. So I got to be honest, kind of confused about what's causing it, but I'm pretty sure that since this 2X is a paint and primer all in one, it's supposed to be a one coat kind of deal, that when I put it on just a little too thick, I have a feeling it may be reacting somehow with itself. And if you guys can hear that in the background, it's thunderstorming here, and Honey the cat is not liking this. So she's making her displeasure known. Well, anyway, I decided there's clearly only one way to handle the situation. There's no way this model is going to make the Canadian build. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going medieval on it, and it's going to go purple power bath. So I soaked it for a couple hours, brought out the toothbrush, and a reasonable amount of the paint did come off, but I'm going to give it 24 hours submerged in the purple power, and then I'm going to do everything I can just to strip this puppy clean. No more 2X, no more shortcuts. I just hope I don't damage the acrylic canopy or anything. I'm not really worried about the polystyrene, but I am a little worried about the acrylic, so I have to be careful about that. And so with that in mind, I just set it aside to soak and started working on the Patton's Power Wagon. Now, you actually have to build the frame on this old Lindbergh kit. So that's turned out a few of the parts are a little crisp and a little delicate. Then when I mean crisp, I mean they snap easily. Brittle is really what I meant, and which is kind of in line with what we were talking about earlier today. And this kit isn't that old, I don't think, but anyway. So I'm just going to let that frame harden for a while before I move on, because I'm going to have to extend and add parts to the frame, so I really don't want to get too far into the model, because I'm kind of working out the battle plan for the kit bash modification for the Tom Daniel inspired build. And just a reminder, you guys know, I'm sure, if you're using something stripper like Purple Power, make sure to wear gloves and eye protection and everything. So, in fact, when I came in the house, I couldn't pet the cat because I had a little bit of residue on my hands. She was all mad. I wouldn't give her some rubs. I'm like, let me wash my hands, honey. But, of course, when I came back after that, she was like, no, you had your chance. So, anywho, that's where we're at with that. I might get out and do a little more work today. We got some family things going on tomorrow. I'm not sure how the video is going to roll over the next couple of days, but I'll get some stuff out as I make progress and something to report. So maybe it'd be an opportunity to get reading on some of these books. And that's where we're at with that. And I will let you guys know the Purple Power stripping goes tomorrow. And other things I never thought I would say. The Purple Power stripping. And also I'm posting below the tentative schedule for our builds. Of course, the Canadian build's due in just a couple actually, pictures are due tomorrow. I've been working on the video this afternoon while it's thunder booming outside. And then we, of course, have the Tom Daniel inspired build going on now, and I have the rest of the builds lined up throughout the year. Although the later ones down at the bottom of the list may get rearranged. One little change I made is the Science fiction build is going to be a real space and science fiction build, because I realize that there aren't that many real space kits out there, and even science fiction kits can kind of fall into where you're these days kind of stuck between Star Trek and Star Wars. And I was thinking, just so you guys, I know everybody builds different stuff, just so you have a little more options when we get around to that one. It'll be a space and sci-fi, so you can do real space like Apollo, or sci-fi, and the sci-fi, if you want to, will include Kaiju, but it will, or anything that's science fiction, like Frankenstein's monster is science fiction, but Dracula isn't. That's supernatural. So something like King Kong, Godzilla, Frankenstein's monster, The Fly, something that was a result of Wall, mad scientist, would fall in the sci-fi build. But that'll also include real space as well as science fiction vehicles. I like to keep these categories a little broad. We will later on have some more specific builds. One of them down the road is going to be a Corsair or P-38 build. So you can do anything named Corsair, carboat or plane, or P-38. And the reason is I've had requests for both, but I know a lot of folks don't necessarily do airplanes. So I like to, expand the category a little bit. But that's where that will be. And yes, I will accept World War II Corsair or the Corsair II jet. Well, anyway, we'll get to that when the time gets closer. Guys, take care of yourselves. And as always, model on.